Hi, Frank.
Hi.
First of all, just a reflection on the transfer window. How satisfied or otherwise are you with Everton's dealings in this window?
I'm very pleased. I'm pleased the window's shut. It's something that's run a long way into the season. Probably complicated it slightly for a lot of clubs, I guess. But no, I think we were very strategic in the way we approached it from a long time ago. When I say that, I'm talking about the club that's joined up from owner to chairman to board to myself to Kevin Farewell. What do we want to improve us? How could we do it in the right way? And hopefully that reflects in what we get now. When I look at the squad, I'm happy, and now it's time to get our heads down and work.
Tell us what Idrissa Gana-Gueye and James Garner bring particularly for you in midfield.
Well, that's when I talk about our view on the window. It was, Gana-Gueye is a player for the now, of course. The club know him very well. He knows the club. So in terms of that, the qualities of playing as a deeper line midfield player, number 6, striker number 8, which he's been doing at PSG a lot, gives me a great option, great experience, and different profile of player to what we've got. So I'm really, really pleased with that one. And with James Garner on the flip of, the strategy of a young player that's got lots of energy, lots of quality, and will improve with us and improve us. So I think it's a good example of us trying to move forward in a sensible direction, improve the team, improve the core of the team in midfield, get energy in there, as well as quality. And now we've got good competition in there as well. So that's important for the course of a long season.
And I sense you were frustrated and glad it's over because you held on to Anthony Gordon, which was quite something really. How pleasing is that for you and the football club as a whole?
I was pretty cool about that all the way through because you asked me a lot about it, but I was, from the early days of the talks, I was very understanding of where we wanted it to go, and it never got close, really, in my opinion, to happening. And I think that's been great because it's shown where we're coming from. It's shown, I think, in Anthony's performances where he's at mentally and as a player. And we move on, and really, really happy.
Some of the fans still feel that you're a bit light up front. Do you?
Well, we've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming back into training next week. We've got Neil Maupay, who we brought in, hasn't played a game yet. We've got Salomon Rondon as a centre forward. We've got our wingers, where I've got different options on both sides, and Alex Iwobi can play as pretty much any position on the pitch, actually. But I think we have to be careful here to not bring in someone for the sake of bringing them in. We've got now a short period until the window opens again because of the World Cup that's coming around. So I'm very happy with what we got. The squad is strong. As I say, Dominic is back next week. I don't think there are so many teams in the Premier League who tend to play one up front as a reference that have 3, 4, 5. You stack up strikers, it's not easy to manage at the same time. We're always looking, can we improve and how will it improve us, and look at it in a broad scale in terms of, does that help the squad? Is the player going to develop with us? Are they going to make an impact now? So we took a very considered view on it, and I'm happy.
I know you were very frustrated with the ineligibility of Neil Maupay at Leeds on Tuesday. He must be chomping at the bit, raring to go for a Merseyside derby. Is he likely to make his debut?
Well, he'll be in the squad for sure, of course. We talked about the striker situation with Dominic being out. He's come straight in into consideration. The other lads have done very well up there, particularly in the last couple of games. I think we've looked very mobile, given teams a lot of problems. In the second half at Leeds, we could score 2 or 3 goals through the mobility of the team. So I'll consider all those things, but it's great to have Neil available.
And the other new boys are likely to be in the squad immediately, Gana-Gueye and James?
Gana-Gueye will be in the squad. It's a case of when you bring in players, and some of them have been it's been a bit of a process and a bit of a time. The lads are not always training at full level in those periods. We had it with Amadou earlier when he came in, that he wasn't quite ready. So they're probably in and around that. So whether they'll be starting is a question mark, but they'll be in and around it, and we'll get them up to speed very quickly.
Still no league win yet, but a real battling performance at Leeds, wasn't it? Is that the sort of skills that you've got to demonstrate and character in a Merseyside derby?
Without a doubt, that'll be the baseline, won't it? Because you have to have the work ethic and the togetherness and the organisation, the spirit. We showed that at Leeds. I thought we were very unfortunate not to win the game against a team that are really difficult to play against, and it's slightly similar style in terms of Liverpool. We know Liverpool so well. They're class actors, we know, on the pitch, and they've had a lot of time to work their style, their identity, the way they play. So there'll be some similarities with how Leeds set up in terms of intensity, for sure. So we have to match that as a baseline. But yeah, the fact we haven't won a game, I don't think it's a true reflection. I think we're unbeaten. We've been very close to winning games. We should have more points. And there are probably different circumstances around that. But the feeling is that we're getting better and better, and we just have to continue with that.
I was going to ask you about the approach to the Liverpool game in the Merseyside derby, having watched Manchester United get the better of Liverpool. Is that something that's in your mind, how they went about it?
Well, are you talking about the actual the
style,
system?
the pressing,
yeah, well, I think the pressing in the early parts of the game, Manchester United were pressed high and got some rewards, and then Liverpool took a lot of control of different parts of the game. So I don't think there's any absolute plan you can take off the back of other performances. We watched them against Manchester United, we watched them against Newcastle. We understand our own strengths and weaknesses potentially, and where can we make it difficult for them. So I think we need to take those things in, consider them, but we need to approach it in our own way.
And looking at their side, Darwin Núñez is back from suspension. He's new to the Premier League. Any specific plans to wind him up in a Merseyside derby, maybe?
No, not to wind him up. I don't know why you're even saying that.
Spoken to your centre-backs?
Yeah. No, they just didn't do their job. The best way to, if you're going to call it winding up, I wouldn't, but is to do your job right and make it difficult for them. He's a top-quality player. That's why he comes at that price tag, and the level of play is big. We know that. So, but they also have played a few games without him where they performed very well, and Firmino is a top player in the Premier League. There's no doubt about that, which offers something different. So we'll have to be prepared for different eventualities and their selection, because they have such a strong squad. But we can concentrate on ourselves, and the best way to get any kind of advantage during game is just perform and just be on it.
It's fair to say there's been some interesting moments on the touchline between yourself and Jurgen Klopp. It can be feisty on the pitch in a Merseyside derby, but off it too. Can we expect some more fireworks there? Well,
I don't know, but I don't. I think I've got a lot of respect for Jurgen Klopp. I think that has to be said first and foremost. And when, as managers, you want to be winners. I've been like that all my career, and I'm sure Jurgen's the same. Then you have to be on a certain edge, but you have to be respectful. So we can all pinpoint a match last week where he got a bit frustrated, or I did, or together 2 years ago, whatever it was. It's irrelevant. You shake hands before the game. You do your job on the line before, and hopefully you shake hands at the end. And it's as simple as that. So to reiterate, I've got huge respect for what he's done as a manager at this club and how he's built that team over the last number of years. It's so impressive. But of course, I understand what a derby means, and I'm here to do my job, and I'll stand up to do my job.
Well, good luck tomorrow. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. We'll go to Damien at Premier League Productions.
Hi, Frank. You've had a taste of a Merseyside derby, as you just suggested. How would you characterise this particular one? It's as intense as it gets.
Yeah, I would say so. I was, fortunate enough to take part in a lot of London derbies as a player, but a London derby can have a different element to it. I think when you are talking about a city like Liverpool and what it means to Liverpool and Everton, and the city's so 50-50, I think that it ramps up the intensity of the game and what it means for the fans. And I had a taste of it at Anfield last year. We competed really well in the game. I think we're really unfortunate to lose the game for different reasons. And it's my first at Goodison, so I'm excited about that fact, knowing that we'll have a home crowd behind us before the game, during the game, and we have to perform with the same passion that they're going to turn up with. Thanks.
Ian?
Hi, Frank. I'm just thinking, in transfer deadline week, how will it feel when you do get Dominic back? He will almost feel like a new signing for you, won't he? How much are you looking forward to that moment?
Well, very much, and I think that's why when you reflect on the question of strikers, we've got an incredible striker in the building, and I didn't get to work with him so much last year because of his injuries, which were just unfortunate. But then when you saw his impact in the back end of the season, you know what he can bring. So let's not forget that. So yeah, I agree. He's going to be a huge plus. He's getting closer. He's working really, really hard. He was looking great in pre-season. It was such a frustrating type of injury. And when you have a player of that level, when he comes back, you're going to want him to play. You're going to want him to get up to speed. You're going to want him to play games, and then we know what he can produce. So it's we've worked a lot on the core of the team and the spine of the team, and trying to be stronger defensively for sure. Trying to have more energy and power in midfield, and of course up front we know where we're at. So I think that's where we were trying to be very considered. I think you can see a direction in the way we're trying to recruit. And I think that's important. And players like Dominic and Anthony, who are here already, remain huge players for us.
And obviously you brought in Neil Maupay for his individual qualities, but were you also thinking about how he could work alongside Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if indeed that's how you intend to play?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, there's always an option of that, and I think that's important. And I know Neil being a very intelligent centre forward who can play between lines, who can run behind, who's very alive in the box. He has a different profile to Dominic, which is great, which means if you're going to think of them working together, or one or the other for different circumstances, it's nice to have someone that looks different from Dominic in terms of his profile. So, yeah, that was very considered in our thinking with Neil.
Thanks, Ian. Alistair, the BBC.
Thanks. Can I just check on other team news as well?
Yeah.
Is there any other injuries or anything we should know about?
No, we're where we were. Decore trained with us today, but it's his first day of training with the group, so he won't be part of the squad tomorrow.
Just reflecting on the transfer window, I think it's 8 players in, 1 striker. You mentioned that it's quite difficult to get strikers in. Was there anything restricting you bringing another striker in terms of finance or anything like that?
No, I think I think people are drawn to the striker situation. As I said just then, I didn't have Dominic a lot last season. So Dominic for me feels a bit like a new signing personally as well, and Neil. And we see the players that we have now, and Anthony Gordon at 21 years of age, Damari Gray, relatively young still, Dwight McNeil, who we brought into the club. So I think it's when I and we as a club look at how can we improve the team, so we hopefully will not be in a position we were last year. Moving forward, we'll get better and better and better. It's to isolate and just look at the striker. For us, wasn't the way to look at it. It was how can we strengthen the team throughout. So it wasn't a case of Richarlison leaving the club as a big player for us at the top end of the pitch. Let's just look at that and make sure we try and replace that. We have to look at the collective. So it was important for us to try and strengthen throughout. Games can be won and lost defensively, at the back of the pitch, in the middle of the pitch. If you want to gain some sort of control of a game, you want to have that comfort and control in a game. It doesn't just relate around a striker. And again, now I look at us and I'm saying we've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who when fit is an England striker, and Neil Maupay, who is a very proven goal scorer in the Premier League over the last few years. So I'm very happy. So I've got lots of options up front. Too many options can leave too many people sitting and not playing. That's not great for the squad either. So I've got options. I've got options now as people get fit to use people off the bench, which I haven't had in early season. So yeah, that's where we're at.
You mentioned there, I think, also that the physicality was something that you've improved upon, maybe in defence and in midfield as well. Does that kind of set the style that you're going to play this season as well?
Yeah, and we'll work towards that. That's why I feel like it's the early stages of the season, as I keep saying. I feel we've performed pretty well. But I do know that now the window's shut and the squad is together, then now it really begins in terms of what can we improve in the squad and how can we improve our style of play. And I think there were 2 things I really wanted to improve: was the energy of the team and the capacity of the team, particularly centrally in midfield, and also personality. And I think that is when you look at the players who brought in, and some that are experienced, who have a real vocal presence and a professionalism around them that affect the group, I think that's hugely important. And I feel when you look at how we wanted to recruit, that's why I'm sitting here pretty happy. But of course, results now are the key, and we get to work now because it's good to have the personnel that we feel strong with. Let's work, and then hopefully results come.
Just looking ahead to the game on Saturday, I think Jesse Marsh brought up the fact that he was maybe frustrated with some of what he saw as time wasting at Leeds. You may have seen when Newcastle played Liverpool the other night, there was a lot of booing from the crowd as well in terms of time wasting for Newcastle, perceived time wasting. Is that a legitimate thing, and is it something that you will look to do if you take a lead against Liverpool?
No, and I think I've analysed this a bit the last few days. I think, well, I don't know if anyone watches Match of the Day, but we all saw the stat that it was at Leeds. It was the most minutes played in a Leeds game this season. I lived the game because I was on the touchline, and from this multi-ball system that we have now, the balls aren't right behind the goal. But as soon as the ball went out into the crowd were booting or whistling at Jordan Pickford to take the kick quickly when he didn't have the ball in his hands. And then this related to movements on their bench about time. This is like 10 minutes into the game. So I think that a lot of that was, it escalated very quickly. There were a lot of minutes played in that game. I think it's not the referee is there to control that part of the game. The referee can stop his watch and add 8 minutes like he did for Liverpool the other night at the end of the game. So all those things I think as well, and as well I think we have to be very careful for us as managers to jump on a game and say there was because there are a lot of moments in other games where a team are seeing out a game where people can go, what about your team? What about your team? And you'll be careful not to get caught up in double standards. I think it's very important that the refs manage the game very well. I think it's very important that the players are respectful and don't try to waste time. But if the ball's in the stadium, I'm not expecting Jordan Pickford to sprint 30 steps up and get the ball and bring it back. There's a process. So I think there's a balance to it, and that maybe it's the talk of the moment a little bit. But if the referee's going to put 8 minutes on for Liverpool and they score in the 8th minute, then maybe it's because when the ball's gone out of play, he's done his job well. For me, that's it.
And just last of all, obviously there's been teams that spent more money than yourselves over the course of the window, and I think it's a record 1.9 billion spent in this window. I just wondered what you thought of that in terms of spending, but also maybe in the context of where, you know, this country is at the minute, cost of living crisis and everything, and the kind of juxtaposition of that as well.
Yeah, I understand the question. I don't see where it directly relates. I can only speak for us. I can't speak for other clubs that have spent a lot more than us. We worked towards trying to be the best way to make our squad improve, because it's a business and fans come and watch us. They want to react to who we're bringing in, and they want us to have a strong squad, so we have a responsibility to do the best we can, but we also have to look at the finances and deal with that. We've done that as a club. I can't speak for anyone else. I understand the cost of living crisis is a really, really difficult situation for the country, but I don't think it's one for me to sit here and relate to another club that spent a lot of money, or the Premier League spending a lot more money. I think this, for me, I understand the question. I can understand why it becomes something that we're maybe not massively comfortable about, but I don't think there's a direct correlation. And we also love this league, and we love the players that come into this league, and it's an amazing business. It's an amazing brand. So I don't see the direct relation, but I understand the question.
Well, all right, I'll just take it slightly different then. In terms of the spending, that 1.9 billion spent, I think it dwarfed all the other European leagues. Some suggested that the Premier League is almost like a European Super League already. Would you agree with that?
No, I just think it's the best league in the world. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks very much. Are there any further questions in the open section before we move on to the newspapers? No? Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers, cheers. Thank you.